So this is the deck that I use to get from gold into platinum this season. Yes, I didn't quite make it into diamond last season. I got placed in gold when the season reset. And I said, okay, I'll do something fun because gold is meant to be fun. Surprisingly, I actually almost finished climbing from platinum to diamond with this as well. I'm still in the progress of doing that. And this deck has been surprisingly decently performing. I'd say it's closer to tier 3 than tier 2.5, like I put it on my tier list, but it is a lot of fun. And if you already have a Sprite core, you might as well give it a try. It's just completely wacky and fun. So we're going to go on and get into it. First, we got the 1 Psyframe driver, which means we're running the 2 Psyframe gamma, the 3 maxi, the 1 Krawler spine. This one is whenever it's flipped face up, you target 1 monster on the field and destroy it. All the small crawlers have the effect of if this field its owner's control leaves because of an opponent's card effect, you can special summon 2 crawler monsters with different names from your deck in face down defense position, except for Krawler Spine. You can only use each effect of Krawler Spine once per turn. Now, the reason why this is important is because you can basically just float into other things. Some people choose to run this with the World Legacy Pawns, which allows you to flip a face down card up, or the World Legacy Mind Meld, which makes an opponent's monster effect return one of your opponent's face up monsters instead. So you can force that effect, or like someone plays Lightning Storm, you flip it up, now it's face up, it gets removed from the board, you get the float effect. That's for the more slower version of the deck, and I will show you what that looks like the more crawler-oriented version of the deck. I prefer the faster version because this is kind of more combo-oriented, and then the crawlers just have useful bonus effects if you get to resolve them. And they're all level 2, so you can bring any of them out with Giant Sprite if you really need to. We're going to go ahead and move on. Axon is just target 1 spell or trap on the field and destroy it. You can destroy your own spell and traps for whatever reason if you really wanted to. This is just decent spot removal. Krawler YuGiOh is you can special summon a crawler monster from your hand or graveyard in face up attack position or face down defense position. The reason this is good is you can actually special summon the Krawler Link monsters, which float into the Krawler monsters in the graveyard when they're removed from the field. And when I say removed from the field, I mean like if these guys are banished from the field, if they're bounced from the field, like if they're removed from the field by your opponent's card effect while in your possession, you get the float effect. And next we have 2 Krawler Receptor. This guy's just a searcher. He lets you add a crawler monster from your deck to your hand. And then we're going to move into more of our Sprite core for now. We have the 3 Nimble Beaver. When it's normal summon, you can special summon 1 level 3 or lower Nimble monster from your deck or graveyard. Decent card. Lets you basically make a rank 2 or link 2 instantly. The 3 Sprite Blue. The 3 Sprite Jet. The 1 Sprite Red. The 1 Sprite Carrot, 2 Ash Blossom and Joy Springs, 3 Retaliating Sea. So you're probably wondering, why am I running this? Well, when your opponent activates a spell card that includes an effect that special summons a monster quick effect, which a lot of things in YuGiOh do that right now, and pretty much any runic card this will be, you'll be able to resolve this on. Pretty much like any Sprite, well, just the one, but if your opponent Sprite starters or activates any of the runic cards that would special summon a monster, or even if your opponent activates Macrocosmos, because that does include an effect to special summon a monster, you can special summon this card from your hand. If summoned this way, while this card's face up on the field, any card sent to the graveyard is banished instead. So that effect on its own is good. The next really decent effect is if this card is sent from the field to graveyard, you can add 1 Earth Insect monster with 1500 or less attack from your deck to your hand, except Retaliating Sea. So that's going to get you pretty much any of our mainline crawlers, which is pretty sweet. You could even add Max C if you wanted to. Being able to search Max C is also pretty sweet. But being able to resolve this against runic players has been great because then they have to out this before they can fountain and resolve the effect to put stuff from grave back into their deck, because if all their cards are being banished, they're not really going to be able to do that. Next we have 3 Krawler Soma. This is the most important piece of the deck. This guy's MVP, regardless of if you're playing the more Sprite combo-oriented version or if you're just playing the more slower Krawler version. Soma is just kind of busted. You can target a face-up monster you control. Doesn't have to be a Krawler. Let's say you activated something, your opponent ashed you and decided to gamma the Ash Blossom. You can target the Ash, not the Ash Blossom, you can target the gamma or the driver and flip it face down. Basically, you just special summon this card from your hand, change the targeted monster to face down defense. It can't change its battle position for the rest of the turn. And then during your main phase, you can reduce this card's level by 2 or 4. If you do, special summon Krawler monsters with different names from your hand, deck, or graveyard, whose total levels equal the amount reduced in face-up attack or face-down defense position. Sorry, in face-up or face-down defense position. You can only use each effect Krawler Soma once per turn. This is amazing because you can just do something like, let's say I have Spine, summon Spine, flip his butt face down, he has 2100 defense. If I resolve his destruction effect later, great. If not, who cares? But flip it down, beam out 2 Krawlers from the deck, and I just get an instant Sprite or an instant Sprite Elf or whatever other rank 2 or link 2 I want to make. Next we have Book of Taiyu. So I'm running this in place of the slower option, which is World Legacy Pawns, because we're trying to do a more combo-oriented build in case we go first. And this is target face down monster on the field, change that target to face up attack position. Or let's say I go second, and my opponent has something I just have to out, and I have like the Spine or the Axon, I can do that. Or better yet, I have the Receptor. I can go set Receptor, activate Taiyu, Receptor effect, add Soma, Soma effect, set Receptor face down, Soma, resolve Soma effect, reduce by 4 levels, summon 2 more Krawlers. So it's just better than a trap card because you don't have to wait a turn for it. Next we have 3 World Legacy Survivors. This card has been surprisingly good. I thought that excavating and having something grave might not be the best, but it turns out that this has enabled so many plays for the deck that it is just kind of sick. And one of the things that I've happened upon with this is like I milled one of these 2 guys, Carrot or Red, and then I went into Elf and then brought it back because it was in my grave. So there's some interesting plays this enables. But excavate the top 5 cards of your deck. If you do, add 1 Krawler monster or World Legacy card to your hand. Also send the remaining cards to the graveyard. Otherwise, shuffle all excavated cards into the deck for the rest of this turn. After this card resolves, you cannot special summon monsters from the extra deck except link monsters. You can only activate 1 World Legacy Survivor per turn, so make sure you have done your gigantic Sprite plays before you activate this. Next, we have 2 Called by the Grave, 2 Sprite Starter, 1 Sprite Smasher, and 1 Evenly Matched. And now I'm going to show you guys what the slower version of this deck looks like that is kind of more Krawler oriented than more Sprite oriented. The extra deck is basically the same, but just in case I do swap things out, I'm going to go through that as well. Before I do that, first we have Shaddoll Shek. We can make it easy with Construct. You can splash in a couple of Shaddoll monsters in here if you feel like it, and you can basically abuse the negate effect of Shek. When a special summon monster activates effect, when you have a Shaddoll card in your hand, you can, and if you do negate that monster, then send 1 Shaddoll card from your hand to the graveyard. Only use Shek effect once per turn. If this card is sent to the graveyard, you can target a Shaddoll spell or trap in your graveyard, add it to your hand. So I'm going to get into why that's better in the slower version in a moment. Right now, it's basically just a body on the board. 2 Gigantic Sprite, 1 Zeus, 1 Synapse. So Synapse is 2 Earth monsters. Krawler monsters that it points to can't be destroyed by battle, gains 300 attack defense, and the monsters that it points to can make 2 attacks on monsters during the battle phase. And all the big crawlers, the link crawlers, have the effect of if this face-up card is destroyed by battle or leaves the field because of an opponent's card effect. Leaves the field meaning like if it gets banished face-up or whatever, while the owner controls it, you can target 2 crawler monsters with different names in your graveyard, special summon them and face down defense. You can even do it with Soma and just flip them up as a 2000 beater next turn if you really want. Next we have Neuragos, which is crawler monsters can't be destroyed by battle. When it points to them, they gain 300 attack and defense. If a battle is an opponent's monster, any battle damage they inflict to your opponent is doubled. This face-up card is destroyed by battle or leaves the field because of an opponent's card effect while its owner controls it. You can target 2 crawler monsters with different names in your graveyard, special summon them face down defense position. So now that we've went and covered that, we're going to go over Krawlark. Krawlark is if this face-up card, well, the flood effect is first, basically. You can do the flood effect, but so if this card activate, this card's effects based on the number of crawler monsters you control. Sorry, I had to read that for a second. I don't use this one very often. You have 2 or more crawler monsters. Sorry, 2+ crawler monsters. All monsters you control gain 300 attack and defense. 4+, your opponent's cards and effects can't be activated during the battle phase. 6+, your monsters can attack directly. You will rarely resolve that, but I have had a game situation where that was the winning effect, basically. Next we have 1 Insector Pico Felina. You're pretty much just using this for the effect that you can shuffle 3 insects from your grave back into your deck and draw a card. 1 Shaddoll Construct. You're basically just using that to summon the Shek. 1 Masquerena. 1 Eve the World Key Blade Master. This card has been amazing. It lets you, during main phase, you can set a World Legacy spell or trap directly from your deck. Can't be activated while you have no World Legacy monsters in your graveyard. If this Link Summon card is sent to the graveyard as Link material, you can shuffle 1 card in the field into the deck. This card's great. 2 Sprite Elf, 1 Nightmare Unicorn, and then 1 Underworld Goddess of the Closed World. And so now we're going to get into what the slower version of this deck is going to look like, that mainly revolves around the Krawler core and back row and just kind of playing more of a slower but spam-centric, Krawler spam-centric deck. We're going to have 2 Mind Meld. So this is the one that if your opponent activates a monster effect, it includes hand traps by the way, like Ash Blossom. While you control a Krawler monster, the activated effect becomes return a face-up monster your opponent controls to the hand. So you can basically force the float effects. And then the secondary effect is you can banish this card from the graveyard, target a Link monster on the field, special summon 1 Krawler monster from your hand, deck, or graveyard to a zone this points to and face down defense position. You can only use 1 World Legacy Mind Meld effect per turn and only once that turn. So this is decent. The other great thing about this is you can add it off Survivor, or you can just let it be milled off Survivor and add something else. I personally really like that. I only run 1 Pawns because this card is just not very good and it really sucks when you brick it. We're not going to run the Evenly in this variant, or are we? Oh, we might as well, because we can just manipulate whether things are face up or face down. We're still going to run the full Sprite package just because it is pretty good. In this case, I'd take out like 1 Jet, just because you're really not going to need Jet as much. You're really just going to need blue to enable things. And you're going to be able to get to it just fine with the amount of searchability you have. We are going to add... Where is he? We are going to add Deus Ex Krawler. The fact that we can summon him off YuGiOh is really useful. When your opponent activates a card or effect that targets this face-down monster, you can change it to face-up defense, negate the activation. If you do, destroy that card. After this card is flipped face-up, while it is in the monster zone, negate all monster effects activated on your opponent's field. If this card is destroyed by battle or card effect, you can add from your deck to your hand 1 level 9 monster with a different original type and attribute. You only use the effect Deus Ex Krawler once per turn. You will not use that second effect. You will never use that second effect. Next, we're going to go ahead and go over to Shadow. And we are going to run... I would advise running the one Winda. I don't have the gems for it right now, and I personally wasn't running it in testing, but it was pretty decent. So we're going to run the one Falco. I don't know why I dismantled it earlier. I'm just going to be making it again to show the video. The one Shaddoll Fusion. And then when I was playing it, I was running the one Squamata. I don't know why I generated another one. I guess I really wanted the shiny one. And then the one Hedgehog. You can also alternatively run Beast, but I prefer Hedgehog just because it makes the deck kind of like a little bit more searchable, which is what you really want in this deck, personally. At least I feel you really want that. And by putting the Shaddoll package in here, you can also get their effects from the males off Survivor, which is really nice. And obviously Falco's level 2, and then this also gives you more ammo for Shek, which is really good because Shek is really live in this deck. Like, really, really live, because you have just all the earth monsters to go into it that are easily expendable. Yeah, that's pretty much it. You can, if you really want to, you can run because you have, I think it's Gin Buster. Yeah. You can run number 65 Gin Buster in here because you do have some dark options, like these are all dark, that's dark, and it gives you an extra effect-based negate. Personally, the extra deck is already really packed. So I'm not going to run them. Maybe you could take out Zeus if you don't find yourself using Zeus. I have used him a couple of times, but if you just really want that negate, or if you really want the spot removal, you can also run Soul Sweeper, which is just 2 level 2 monsters. The other good thing about Soul Sweeper is he's pretty easy to make with the Krawlers too, so he's just spot removal with that. But I feel like if you wanted this, you could alternately just run another Spine and run like less of the hand traps, to where if you wanted to put more of the Shaddoll engine in or more of the Krawler engine in. But this kind of lets you do more. I'm gonna go to name this. But I've been running the more combo-oriented version. Got me to Platinum. Pretty good deck. Let me know if you like this down below. Let me know if you think that this is just completely nuts and redundant with all the other sprite engines we have, but I like it. And as always, this video is brought to you by W Energy. You can use code SirLargeGaming to get 10% off with the link below. That peach pear, it's not peach pear, sorry, that peach mango flavor is really good. And I will see you guys in the next one. Bye bye.